The resource that I want to share with you guys today is using Blackout Poetry in the classroom. And so Blackout Poetry is when you take something you've read and you redact words from it in order to make a poem. So when I taught this with my high school junior honors English class, we used this New York Times article. It's an interactive one. There's the URL for it, I guess. And on here you can choose an article. There's different options. I kind of let them vote on one article we would use for our example. And then they just kind of took turns picking a word through each paragraph, or a few words from the paragraph, to turn into a poem. So here is the reading, and here it is right here where it's all blacked out. But say you were to click on a word, then it would show up on here. And we would try to pick words that would make up a nice sentence, or try to make sense. Of course, they didn't have to, but we tried our best until we would make some type of poem over here. Now I'm going to open up my Instagram. Here are some examples of my students. So all of the reading that we chose from came from a book called Love Medicine by Louise Erdrich. And I let them choose which chapter and which page they wanted to choose before printing out a copy of that page and letting them make their blackout poetry on it. So they got two copies, one for one as their rough draft, so they can mess up if they want to, and then one with their final copy. So here is a final copy version. So you can see she blacked out a lot of it, and then she even added some color. Another student, she kind of was inspired by ledger art, and so she didn't really black out any of the letters, but she made sure to draw a square around the letters she wanted to contain into her poem. And then I told them that if they wanted to make their poem about the book we had read, they were welcome to, or they could just go off of whatever they wanted to. So this one's poem wouldn't be too relative to the story, I guess. Neither would this one, but this poem right here would be a good example of a poem that is directly linked to the book based on the content of the book. So it says, he got the wine, the courts were gone, he'd gone too far, bottles and stub cigarettes, he was trapped there with himself. And there's a lot of alcoholism in this book, and other issues that relate to that. So this poem in particular really relates to the book itself, but I left it open to them so that they could do any interpretation they wanted, really, as long as they were blacking out the words. If I was to do this differently, I think I would give them the option to kind of share out their poetry, because they turned these into me and we didn't really have like a share out. Of course I would make it optional, I wouldn't want to make them uncomfortable, but I think a lot of them would have liked to share their work and read it and explain their thinking behind the words that they chose. I would also like to try this way of making poetry with all of my other classes, not just my honors, and just see what they do with it. Maybe even let them choose from any book of their choosing. So maybe have them choose from their favorite book. All right, that's my resource.